Hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here at the Ruttenberg Library. Come to you with another bookshelf tour. Using this day to get some videos done. It's a nice day outside, but it's a little bit cool and breezy, so I'm in here trying to get some of these videos done while I have a chance. So this is the second bookcase over in the upper room. It's the third shelf down. So let's go ahead and get started. The first book on the shelf is it's actually a little kid's book, The Lost Colony of Roanoke by Gene Fritz and Hudson Talbot. Kind of a neat little cover on it. I was given this sometime in the past. I can't remember when I was given this, but I teach Roanoke when I'm going through with my 8th grade class. So somebody had gifted me this, and I can't remember who it was. But anyway, this is from the year 2004, G.P. Putnam and Sons, it looks like. Or a Penguin Young Readers Group, excuse me. Yeah. So, there's that one. And then the next one on the list, looks like full of notes, is America in the 20th Century. This is the 5th edition by Frank Friedel and Alan Brinkley. I like this text. It's another old one from college. And it is a Alfred Knopf out of New York, and it is from 1982, it looks like. 1982. A little bit older, but still got some good stuff in it. So now let's move across the shelf here. This is a book that I had gotten in one of my master's classes when I did my master's in education. It was in a philosophy class, teaching philosophy class. And it's called Basic Teachings of the Great Philosophers by S.E. Frost, Jr. Okay. And I'll be honest, I don't remember a whole lot about this book, just being honest. It is from Anchor Books out of New York, and it is from the year 1989, it looks like, this particular printing. But in the table of contents, it's got, nature of the universe, the views of the early Greek philosophers, Plato's theory of the universe. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Positions of Locke, Berkeley, and Hume. Kant's conception of the universe. It's just a bunch of basic philosophy stuff. Next book on the shelf is The Educated Imagination by Northrop Frye. And, philosophy and stuff, like I said with this one, it's not really my cup of tea. So I can't tell you a whole lot about stuff like that. This is from this particular book, The Educated Imagination, is the Indiana University Press from Bloomington, Indiana, and it is from 1964. This does not look like a 1964 copy, though. Would not have guessed 1964. Looks a lot newer than that. Oh well. Next book on the shelf here. I don't have a dust jacket for it, but it is On to Berlin by James M. Gavin. It's a Viking Press book. There's your cover. This one was one of those from a longtime friend, Lorraine Odell. But, On to Berlin, The Battles of an Airborne Commander, 1943 to 1946, Viking Press out of New York. And it is from 1978. And I think I told you in a previous video, Lorraine Odell was an older lady who had lived here in town. I went to church with her, and she was just a World War II nut. She knew a lot of stuff about World War II. She knew more about World War II than I could ever hope to learn. And she was just a fun lady to talk to. Her and her husband, I'd go over there and visit with them. And before she passed away, she had given me a bunch of her World War II books, and it was awfully kind of her, and really appreciated that. But anyway, all right. Next one on the shelf is from the American Statesman books, and I got several copies throughout the shelves of these that I'd picked up from our local Bedford library. And this one is James Madison. James Madison, and it is, let's see, by Sidney Howard Gay, out of Boston and New York, Houghton Mifflin Company, and it is originally 1884, but this copy is 1912. 1912. Next book on the shelf, Revolution book, American Revolution. Light Horse Harry, a biography of Washington's great cavalryman, General Henry Lee, by Noel B. Gerson. I hope to be doing a book tag on the American Revolution here soon, and of course I haven't read this one yet, so I can't really use it as one of my answers to a tag question, but maybe some of you have read some of these books. Maybe you could put that in your tag answers. All right, so this is A Doubleday and Company out of Garden City, New York, and it's 1966. 1966. Next book, we're going to look at a Holocaust book here. Anne Frank Remembered, the story of the woman who helped to hide the Frank family, by Miep Gies, with Allison Leslie Gold. So the untold story of the secret annex, now the inspiring CBS television movie, The Attic. And here's that book. And it is, let's see here, Simon & Schuster, out of New York, and it's a 1987 book. And this is The Day the War Ended, May 8th, 1945, Victory in Europe, by Martin Gilbert. Okay, World War II, obviously. And this is a Henry Holton Company out of New York. And it is 1995. 1995. Next one on the shelf is another one of the American Statesman book. Oh, I'm going to have to readjust here. Another American Statesman book. This is on James Monroe. And it is, you can see all those copies look very, very similar. And this particular copy is by John F. Jameson out of Boston and New York, Houghton Mifflin again. And this is a 1911 book. 1911. All right, next one on the shelf. A History of Urban America, 3rd edition, by Charles N. Glabb and A. Theodore Brown. Kind of a neat cityscape picture on the front cover there. That's kind of neat on the back cover. And this book, this particular volume, is, let's see, Macmillan Publishing Company out of New York, and 1983. 1983. Well, sorry about that. Had to change angles. That was absolutely killing my knees to sit like that. So, anyway, let's continue the tour. Next book on the shelf is Jimmy Carter, In Search of the Great White House, by Betty Glad. The only thorough and accurate account, according to this book anyway. It's a good-sized book on Jimmy Carter. Gotta be honest, I've read nothing on Jimmy Carter. I've not read any biographies on him. This one's from W.W. Norton and Company out of New York, and it is a 1980 book. 1980. Next book is one of the books I'm most excited to read in the future. This is The Hemmingses of Monticello, An American Family, by Annette Gordon Reed. And of course, this was the National Book Award winner of the Pulitzer Prize. It's a heavy book. This book, I tell you what, if you chuck that across a room, that would knock somebody down. It's a, let's see, 700, 800 page book. It's a hefty book, but I have heard nothing but good things about it, and I've listened to her on several different talks, and she's really good. And I look forward to reading this. This is from W.W. Norton and Company out of New York, and it is a 2008 book. 2008. I've got another one by her somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, but look forward to reading those. Next one, Understanding History, a primer of historical method, second edition by Louis Gottschalk. Hopefully I said that right. A little older volume, but of course, Understanding History, some of the same concepts are still here that have been here forever. This is out of New York, Alfred A. Knopf, and this is a 1969 book. And I'm just warning you, I'm kind of battling my battery right now, so hopefully I can get these done before it dies. So this is volume 1, and this is volume 2 of the personal memoirs of Ulysses S. Grant. This is a pretty cool edition. I got this out of the library. I couldn't even believe they were going to get rid of it, but she wanted to get rid of it, so I said I would be very, very happy to get this, because I've been wanting them and I didn't have them. And this is an old copy. This is out of New York, Charles L. Webster and Company, and this is an 1885 book. 1885 book. So this is volume 1 and 2. And I know when I read these, I'm going to have to be very, very careful with them. Probably would actually be wise to get a new copy of it. But anyway, that's nice to have on the shelf. Next one is by an author who I can't speak enough of. I absolutely love him as an author. The Reckless Decade, America in the 1890s by H.W. Brands. And I've read some of this book, not all of it. When I was teaching the U.S. foreign policy class, I'd gotten into this with some, looking for some Theodore Roosevelt stuff. And anyway, it was good, the little bit that I read. It's from the University of Chicago Press, Chicago and London, and it is a 1995 book. And if you're looking for an author to read, H.W. Brands, he's your guy. Very, very readable. All right, the next one is Nations of the World, Green's England, Volume 1. And I have no dust jacket with this, and maybe this didn't even come with a dust jacket, I'm not sure. It's an older book here. It's Peter Fenelon Collier. And, of course, it's in Roman numerals, and I cannot read it. It's an older book, though. Almost done here. There Once Was a Slave. That is no dust jacket with this one. There Once Was a Slave is the name of the book, and the heroic story of Frederick Douglass. This is a Julian Messner Incorporated out of New York. It's by Shirley Graham. And it is 1947, so biography on Frederick Douglass. Next one is Inside South America by John Gunther. Here in one rich, eye-opening book are all the majesty, muddle, romance, and misery of a great continent. Altogether new, a first-hand report. And of course, this book is dated, so the first-hand account's not going to be first-hand. Well, I mean, it'll still be first-hand, but it won't be new. Harper & Row Publishers out of New York, and it is a 66 book, so it's got some age to it. All right, last 4 books. This is The Best and the Brightest by David Halberstam. Many of you are familiar with that. His books are huge. They are typically, well, this one's over 800 pages long. That's very typical for his books. I've got some other ones of his. This is a Fawcett Crest book out of Greenwich, Connecticut, and it is 1972. No, I lied. 1973, excuse me. It went through multiple printings. All right, so there's that one. Next one is The Haldeman Diaries, Inside the Nixon White House by H.R. Haldeman. Introduction and afterword by Stephen E. Ambrose. So that's a big old thick thing. Looks pretty interesting. I think this is one that I got out of Wiseman's for a good price. This is from G.P. Putnam's and Sons, New York, and it is a 1994 book. 1994, and it's another, well, it's about 700 pages long. Alright, so next one, The Autobiography of Malcolm X as Told to Alex Haley. So, several of you are also familiar with this one, I think. Sorry about that glare. And this is from Ballantine Books out of New York, and it is a 1999 book. 1999 book. And the last book on the shelf, what would a shelf in my collection be without a book on Lincoln? So we got another Lincoln book. This is Meet Mr. Lincoln. You can see it up there. I do not have a dust jacket for this. Meet Mr. Lincoln by Richard Hanser and Donald B. Hyatt. This is a Ridge Press book, Golden Press, New York, and then it is, let's see, the year 1960. And it's kind of a neat book. It's got a lot of illustrations in it. The text is nothing difficult, but the illustrations are wonderful, and the actual photographs and stuff. Anyway, this has been another bookshelf tour for the Ruttenberg Library, and I'm glad you stayed. If you stayed with me, I'm glad you did. Thank you for staying with me. I hope I hope you enjoyed looking at the books. There are more to come. So until next time, BookTube, you have a great day.